Exam Advantage, page 22. Listening 2. Affordable housing. You are going to hear an interview about affordable housing. Listen and choose the correct answer.
It's one of those phrases that you often hear or read. But what does affordable housing really mean, and why are some people so angry about the issue? My guest today is Claire Hislop, a member of Affordable Housing UK. Welcome, Claire.
Thank you.
So, please start by telling us what the problem is.
Well, John, there are several problems, but let me give you a little background. From the end of World War II to the mid-1980s, the average house price in Britain was about 3 times the average annual wage. When people earned £1,000 a year, they could buy a house for £3,000. When inflation pushed up wages to £11,000, houses cost about £30,000. This price was affordable because a worker could afford to borrow 3 times their annual wage and know that it would be easy to pay it back. Now the average wage is about £28,000, but the average house price is almost 10 times as much. So for many young people, buying a home is out of reach.
Right. You said there were several problems.
Yes. After World War II, the government built millions of council homes. These were houses and flats which were owned by local government and which people on low incomes could rent. The rent was low and families had the security of knowing that the home was theirs for as long as they wanted it. Then in the 1980s, the government decided to allow people living in council homes to buy their properties very cheaply.
That sounds like a good idea.
It would have been if the government had continued to build more council houses. Unfortunately, they didn't. So nowadays, the only alternative to buying for many people is to rent privately. These people are at the mercy of landlords who don't really care about them. Landlords can increase rents by as much as they want and offer much shorter contracts than councils. Some people may be forced to move every 6 months, which is very stressful. In addition, tenants often have to pay agency fees to find accommodation and leave deposits, which are not always returned at the end of the contract.
So we need more council homes?
We need homes of all kinds. The population of Britain has been increasing by about 300,000 a year for several years, and government reports suggest that there will be a further increase of 10 million in the next 20 years. These people need somewhere to live, but there just haven't been enough homes built. This means more demand and increased prices, especially in the southeast near London, where most people want to live.
But the government are committed to building more affordable homes, aren't they?
Unfortunately, the government's definition of affordable is 80% of the market rent or selling price. In 2017, our housing minister promised cheap starter homes for first-time buyers in 30 areas of the country. The price of these houses in London is £450,000. He's wrong if he thinks that young couples buying their first home can afford that sort of price.
Do these houses really cost that much?
In London, yes. Outside London, they would be cheaper, but at £250,000, still almost 10 times the average wage. And of course, younger people usually have lower wages, as they are just starting out on their careers. And there's another problem. Just imagine a young couple do manage to get a loan. We're living in a time of historically low interest rates, so the cost of borrowing is very cheap. But what if rates were to rise, which isn't impossible? Borrowers may lose their homes and all the money they've invested in them.
Okay, so now that you've explained the problem, what does your group do?
We try to persuade politicians to change their policies on housing. Our ideas include a ban on anyone owning more than one home, an increase in social housing, a promise to build at least 200,000 homes every year, rent controls and rental security, so people know that their rent won't go up by more than the rate of inflation and that they can stay in their homes for at least 2 years. And we'd like local councils to be able to take over homes which remain empty for more than 6 months, and to make them available to low-income families. This would stop people buying property as an investment rather than a place to live. These policies would increase housing stock and reduce prices.
I wish you well. Thank you.